And now it's recording.
Oh, okay. All right. Thank you. Let me go ahead and start doing my thing. Thank you so much. Um, hmm. Yeah, yeah. I want to do a video. I'm trying to get this. Okay, a video about why Jim Brown really quit football at the young age of about 29 or 30 years old, and it's called NFL Untold Legends, was where I saw the video on YouTube. And it said that most people had heard about Jim left football to play in movies, but they say that was not the complete account. And they said that he had actually played in a movie in the summertime before he retired from football to play in the movie called The Dirty Dozen with an all-star cast. Um, they said he started in 1957 in the NFL. And of course, I think they had an AFL back then, but the NFL was the big deal, or the stronger, more recognized league. And I understand Jim Brown did win an NFL championship, and they said he won three MVPs. He never missed a game. He led the league in rushing 8 out of his 9 years of playing, and they said he even played hurt. So they said that. I think they said they started playing 14 games in 1961. So from 57, uh, 58, 59, 60, that's 4 years of 12 games in a season. And back then, the rules were tougher where, they hadn't put in all of those safety precautions. So it was harder for a running back or any of the players really to play ball because the safety precautions had not been placed in there yet. Um, they mentioned that Jim would get up slowly, which I heard too. So the way that I had heard about it was that it was hard for the opposition to know whether he was hurt or not. Um, and they used to say the same thing about Larry Brown, who played for the Washington football team, that he would get up slowly as well. And speaking of the Washington football team, Ernie Davis refused to play for the racist George Preston Marshall, who owned the team. And I did a different video about that. I think it's called Ernie Davis Refused to Play for Racist Football Owner. And he was traded to Cleveland, and then they received Bobby Mitchell in Washington. But that owner in Washington, since the team was on federal property, was told that he would either have to hire a black or lose his lease. And he was actually the last NFL owner to hire a black football player. So, so they said that Art Modell, the owner of the Cleveland Browns, had given Jim Brown a public ultimatum that he was to show up to training camp or be fined. And Jim was a bit delayed because he was doing the movie, the Dirty Dozen, and he did not appreciate being given that public ultimatum. He had never missed a game in 9 years, and this was just for training camp. And the fella that was doing the video said, "Well, you don't treat uh, Brown, who had proven that he was reliable, like he was a untested rookie, and that this was about Brown's dignity to refuse to be pushed around by the owner." And he sent that owner a letter. And this is why the video guy was saying many people had heard about he left to be in the movies, but it was because of the shabby way and disrespectful way that the owner treated him. Because they said in Brown's letter, he said that if he really needed him, he could come back early. But the owner gave him a public ultimatum. And they say that Jim actually wrote a letter to the ball coach as well to say that he thinks that they would still be in good hands because they had Leroy Kelly, who eventually had a Hall of Fame career of his own, and said that Ernie Green would be a good blocker for him. So the video maker was saying, well, this showed that Brown had concern about the football team um, nonetheless. And then they mentioned that uh, in the year that Brown, I guess, made his season uh, top season for football, 1,500 yards at the time, and said that this was nearly 700 yards more than his nearest competitor, who was Gale Sayers of the Chicago Bears. Now, O.J. Simpson, in the same 14 games, had ran for 2,000 yards and broke Jim Brown's single season record. But the video maker had mentioned what they said, well, Brown's numbers, even though he only played those 9 seasons, are among the best. And I don't know whether he still holds the record for the highest average, maybe over that period of time, because at times I've heard that he had the highest average. Now I have heard of maybe some players for a single season or a few games or whatever having the highest average, but he might still have the highest average yards per carry over a career. Um, so there it is. Jim didn't simply leave to play in movies. He wanted to let that owner know that he wasn't to be pushed around. Okay, thanks for listening, and I'm trying to get this.